you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I am still alive after it's the 11th hour now. No, I'm
Oh
going to
my
the
God.
12th hour, yeah. I think say the best to last, right? So I think you're the
Aw.
24th, 25th. I don't know, but yeah, it's been quite a lot of people interviewed today. So thank you so much for the joining me last minute. I like the t-shirt as well, the jumper rather as well.
Yep. I'm representing.
I'm so hot. I think it's just the spotlight, darling. With this, yeah.
I love
Anyway, so so this is a brief sort of interviewee thing, so people can get to know you and why you're so inspiring and what's new your side of the Atlantic with your work. Please tell people who you are and what you do.
Okay. So I'm Jessica Keenan Smith, and I'm founder and CEO of Living Well with Epilepsy. And I'm thrilled to know Torie through my work in advocacy. I'm a patient living with epilepsy. My background is marketing. And about 10 years ago, rather than write a book, I decided to start a website and taught myself how to code, cracked it open from the back, and found that there was a community of people who were looking to share their stories. So Living Well with Epilepsy was born.
And I love the name of it because, well, it just sounds so positive. And it can be really hard to be positive when you've got dodgy brain activity and all that comes with it. So it really means a lot.
Well, so I sort of thought long and hard about that, and I've gotten some pushback on the name.
Do tell.
Yeah, so I've gotten pushback from advocacy organizations, from docs, and part of it had to do with, like, I guess, where they were in the evolution of communicating about SUDEP.
Okay, we just had a call about SUDEP, in fact. So, okay, yes.
And I think part of it is like where they were in how they felt about communicating. Because in my feeling, you can be living well with epilepsy and communicating about living well with epilepsy and still talk about SUDEP. Because I've been doing that since 2012.
I think I get it when people say, like, because sometimes you are not living well when you've got epilepsy. Just quite frankly, you are not. I certainly have, especially in the past times, I was not living well with epilepsy because I was likely to die if I didn't have surgery. But I was living, I guess, as best as I could by
Right.
choosing to have surgery. So I guess maybe it's sort of perception
Yeah.
and it can be where you are in
But
life.
like you were living your best
Yeah.
well.
Yes. Exactly. So it all depends on, yeah, I suppose, point of view. And yeah, I mean, for instance, my well back then was absolutely shocking. I'm trying not to swear. But yeah, it's the best you can do, right?
Right. And being okay with that.
You do all
And
you
if
can do.
that's like, I take 4 naps, but I found this tea that I really like, or I have a show that brings a little bit of joy, or I have a meditation app, or my med is giving me side effects, but they're getting a little bit better. Like just little pockets of, if not joy, okay. I mean,
So it's almost
sometimes,
like a mental health thing, really, isn't it? The impression I always get from your site, it's more about our community and letting people know that they're not alone
yeah.
and that people do see things different ways. And that's okay as long as they're not rude word people. But yeah, everybody's experience is different. But I also think that it encourages people to seek out where they can the most positive people who are going to have a positive impact on their lives, even if it's just over the computer, because there's so
Yeah.
much horridness, nastiness out there that it's great to have a community of people, should you need it, who empathize.
Well, and the idea also is like, trust yourself and don't hesitate to ask questions. And if your gut is saying, you know, I need to get a second opinion, or, you know, my family's saying, don't talk about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. Um, like, trust your gut, trust yourself, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it's important to hear that, to have that reflected back at you.
Yeah, I think so. Hmm. I, like, do you know what? 99% of me is yes. And then sometimes I'm like, do you know what? It's okay to be contradicted as well. As long as it's in a good way and
Yeah.
it's backed up by science and stuff like that. So it's kind of a balance. But yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's part of why I spend time going to scientific conferences, because I don't have a science background. You know, so it's really important for me to be able to go and be in that space and ask those questions and be told, no, you know, here's how, you know, the data played out, and be shown kind of the accurate information, or just to feel comfortable enough to be wrong.
Right. Thank you. Because do you not think an exciting thing, if you look at it, look at things the way that I think both you and I do, it can be exciting to be contradicted. Because if somebody can say, actually, that's incorrect, and let me explain why, and you know, there's papers to back up what they
Right.
declare, then whoa, that is so cool, right?
Yeah. So when CBD came on the marketplace, um,
At least
you
your side of
know,
the Atlantic, yeah.
yeah, um, my first, you know, I was getting a lot of pressure to publish stories about it,
I feel you.
and my first reaction was to go to some of the docs that I knew were doing research in the epilepsy space and say, okay, if I put out some of these stories, that can seem as though I'm endorsing this as a treatment.
Right.
So I kind of need to know, where does you know, the scientific community land on this?
Yeah.
So I haven't done a lot on it, but that doesn't mean that, you know, the information isn't out there. I ask, and I look to others who know more, before I jump in the pool willy-nilly.
And I think that's a really, really good thing sort of to end our brief conversation with, is that people should, I think we should all do exactly that, is seek different sources of information. If things contradict each other, then it can be frustrating, but it's actually quite a good thing because it makes you seek the truth more. And especially when it comes to things like CBD or you know, certain drugs or whatever, you know, when it's got something to do with your health. Um, Contradiction can be a good thing most of the time, as long as the person's nice and trustworthy.
Those
So,
relationships matter.
so if people want to get hold of you, I'm sure it would be very difficult to do so, but can you just tell us, please?
No, it's never difficult to get a hold of me. And that's part of the beauty of living well. But the site is livingwellwithepilepsy.com. The email is either info@livingwellwithepilepsy.com or jessica@livingwellwithepilepsy.com.
Yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook too, but I am spending a lot of time on Twitter and Instagram right now.